Imagine waking up one day to find your entire world turned upside down. For Sophia, a young mother, this was her reality. Abandoned by her husband after giving birth to triplets with an unexpected twist, she found herself alone, facing betrayal and hardship with no end in sight. But Sophia didn't give up. She embarked on an incredible journey of survival, resilience, and transformation that would lead her to rebuild her life, find new love, and become an inspiration to countless others. But just when Sophia thought she had overcome it all, a shocking twist threatened to unravel everything she had fought so hard to rebuild. What could it be? And how did she find the strength to rise above it again? Stay with us as we dive into this powerful story of heartbreak, hope, and the unbreakable spirit of a woman who refused to give up. Sophia's life took a drastic turn after giving birth to her triplets, each with dark skin. Her husband, Lucas, reacted in disbelief and anger, accusing her of infidelity. As they were both white, he couldn't fathom how they could have black children, and he wanted nothing to do with her or the babies. Without listening to her or giving her a chance to explain, Lucas kicked Sophia out of their home, leaving her with nowhere to go. A decade later, an unexpected scene unfolded at the hospital where Sophia had given birth. Hospital staff, temporarily setting aside their duties, gathered to witness a chaotic situation at the entrance. Lucas was back, unloading several bags from his car and haphazardly dumping them at the hospital gate. His face was twisted with fury, and he seemed oblivious to the commotion he was causing. Security officials approached him cautiously, asking him to stop, but he acted as if they didn't exist. When they attempted to physically intervene, Lucas lashed out, throwing a punch that struck one of the guards before they managed to subdue him. Once restrained, Lucas unleashed a torrent of accusations, revealing a shocking story. He claimed Sophia had betrayed him, having an affair with another man, and then trying to pass off the resulting pregnancy as his own. His anger was palpable as he screamed that the bags were Sophia's belongings, and since he couldn't bring them all inside the hospital, she would have to collect them herself. He didn't care that she had just given birth. His heart was filled with bitterness and hurt. Inside her hospital room, Sophia was still recovering from childbirth, surrounded by her 3 newborns, each crying. Her body ached, and she could barely move. The pain was both physical and emotional as she tried to process what was happening. She had assumed Lucas would come back and they could talk through whatever had happened, but now it was clear he had only returned to throw her out. She pleaded with him not to abandon her, especially at such a vulnerable time. She had no idea how she would manage alone, caring for the triplets without his support. Lucas, however, was unmoved. He harshly told her to find the man she had cheated with and have him raise the children. His words were filled with venom as he declared he wanted nothing more to do with her or the babies. He stormed out of the room, leaving Sophia in shock. Tears streamed down her face as she called after him, but he ignored her cries. Desperation took over as Sophia tried to contact Lucas numerous times in the following days. She called and sent countless messages, but there was no response. It was as if he had vanished from her life entirely, leaving her to deal with the fallout on her own. All she could do was focus on feeding her babies and caring for them as best she could, even though every glance at their dark skin reminded her of the mystery surrounding their birth. Despite everything, Sophia knew she had to find answers. Her marriage was in tatters, and the confusion over her children's skin color was tearing her apart. With no other options, she reached out to her mother, Elizabeth, for support. Elizabeth arrived promptly, her heart breaking over the situation. She couldn't understand how a moment that should have been joyous had turned into such a nightmare. Nonetheless, she chose not to press Sophia for details, knowing she was already overwhelmed. Elizabeth's first priority was to make sure Sophia's belongings were safe. She loaded everything into her car and took them back to her own home before returning to the hospital to help Sophia. The days that followed were grueling. Sophia was exhausted, and her mental health was deteriorating. She could barely think straight, let alone breastfeed her babies properly. Her distress was so intense that it began affecting her physical health, resulting in a severe fever one night. Fortunately, the doctors acted quickly, and she recovered by morning. Despite her condition, Sophia still hoped to reconcile with Lucas. She believed that once the truth came to light, he would return to her. But that hope was dashed a few days later. While changing one of the triplets' diapers, Sophia received a notification from the bank. Her joint account with Lucas had been emptied. The money, which she had been saving for years, was gone. She was devastated. Lucas had always contributed little to the account, and she had assumed she had control over it. Now it was clear that Lucas was not just angry, he was intent on ruining her completely. In that moment, Sophia realized she couldn't rely on Lucas anymore. Her focus had to be on her babies and their well-being. She reported the theft to the police, but there was little they could do. Lucas had fled the state with the money, making it impossible to track him down. Sophia was left to pick up the pieces of her shattered life, but she was determined not to let Lucas's betrayal break her. With Elizabeth by her side, Sophia was discharged from the hospital and moved in with her mother. Though the setback was immense, she refused to let it keep her down. She immediately began searching for work and was fortunate enough to find a job that, while not high-paying, provided a steady income. As the triplets grew older, Sophia worked tirelessly, taking on extra shifts to ensure they had everything they needed. For a while, life seemed to stabilize. The children started school, and Sophia found a balance between work and home life. However, this sense of normalcy didn't last long. When the triplets were 5 years old, a new wave of terror began. Strange notes started appearing in the house, each more threatening than the last. At first, they came by mail, but soon Sophia began finding them inside the house, tucked under her pillow or slipped into the kids' school bags. Sophia was terrified. She was certain the notes were from Lucas, who had somehow found a way to torment her even from afar. Determined not to let him ruin her life further, she reported the harassment to the police. However, just like before, Lucas was elusive, always staying one step ahead of the authorities. The police increased their surveillance of her home, but Lucas remained undetected. Despite the fear that gripped her, Sophia tried to carry on with her life. She was up for a promotion at work that could significantly improve her financial situation, and she was determined to seize the opportunity. With Elizabeth's help in taking care of the kids, Sophia focused on preparing for the interview, and when the day came, she performed exceptionally well and was awarded the promotion. It was a moment of triumph, a much-needed victory after all she had been through. But just as Sophia began to feel a sense of relief, her world was shaken once again. While picking up the triplets from school, one of them handed her a note. Her heart sank as she recognized the handwriting. It was another threatening message from Lucas, reminding her that no matter where she went, he could find her. Her hands trembled as she read the note, and she felt a surge of fear and anger. How could Lucas come so close to her children? She immediately reported the incident to the police, who began another round of investigations. However, despite their efforts, Lucas remained out of reach. The continuous threat to her family's safety became too much to bear, and Sophia made the difficult decision to move to a new city. She explained to her children why they needed to leave, promising them a fresh start away from the shadow of fear that Lucas had cast over their lives. The move was challenging for everyone. Sophia had to give up her hard-earned promotion, and the triplets were upset about leaving their school and friends behind. But Sophia knew it was the best decision for their safety. They relocated to a new city, far from Lucas's reach, and began to rebuild their lives once more. In their new home, Sophia managed to find a decent job that allowed her to support her family. The triplets adjusted to their new school, and slowly but surely, life began to feel normal again. The memories of Lucas and his threats started to fade, and Sophia focused on creating a happy and stable environment for her children. When the triplets turned 10, Sophia decided to throw them a birthday party, a celebration of not just their lives but also the resilience and strength they had all shown over the years. The party was in full swing, with laughter and joy filling the air, when suddenly, the door swung open, and there stood Lucas. He looked worn and haggard, a shadow of the man he once was. Sophia's heart stopped as she saw him. What could he possibly want now? Lucas, with tears in his eyes, began to apologize, begging for forgiveness. He confessed that he had known the truth about the triplets' heritage all along. His mother had told him about an affair she had with a black man before he was born, which explained the triplets' dark skin. But instead of coming clean, Lucas had used the situation as an excuse to leave Sophia and start a new life. However, his new life had quickly fallen apart. The woman he left Sophia for had only been interested in his money, and when it ran out, she left him. Realizing his mistake, Lucas tried to find Sophia, only to discover she had moved on. Jealous and bitter, he had begun sending her threatening notes, hoping to scare her. Now, he was tired and wanted to make amends. Sophia listened to his story with a mix of disbelief and anger. She had suffered so much because of his lies and deceit. She told Lucas that while she could forgive him, she could never forget what he had done. She had built a new life for herself and her children, and there was no place for him in it. Lucas left, and Sophia called the police, who arrested him for his previous crimes. Now, with Lucas finally out of their lives, Sophia could breathe a sigh of relief. She focused on raising her children and building a bright future for them. She knew that one day, she would tell them the full story about their father. But for now, she was content to enjoy the peace they had found and the new life they were building together. As the days went by after Lucas's arrest, Sophia found herself gradually feeling lighter, as if a heavy burden had been lifted from her shoulders. She was finally free from the constant fear and anxiety that had shadowed her life for so many years. Her home, which had once been a place of uncertainty and dread, now felt safe and warm again. Sophia's focus shifted entirely to her children and her career. She poured her energy into nurturing the triplets, who were growing up quickly and showing signs of unique talents. Despite the tumultuous start to their lives, they had blossomed into bright, cheerful children who were well loved at school and in their new neighborhood. They were her greatest joy, and she wanted to give them the world. With Lucas gone, Sophia began to reconnect with old friends and make new ones. She joined a community group that organized local events and supported families in need. Her story, though painful, had given her a deep empathy for others facing hardships, and she was determined to use her experience to help those around her. Through this group, she met other single mothers who had faced similar struggles, and they quickly bonded over their shared experiences. One evening, while attending a community meeting, Sophia met a man named Daniel. He was kind and gentle, with a warm smile and a calming presence that immediately put her at ease. Daniel was a single father with 2 children of his own, and he had been involved in the community group for years. As they talked, Sophia found herself opening up to him about her past, something she hadn't done with anyone outside her close circle. Daniel listened intently, his eyes full of understanding. He shared his own story of loss and rebuilding, and they discovered they had much in common. Over the next few weeks, they started to see each other more often, both at community events and outside of them. Their friendship blossomed, and Sophia found herself laughing more than she had in years. Daniel brought a lightness to her life that she hadn't realized she was missing. As the months passed, Sophia and Daniel grew closer. They often spent time together with their children, enjoying picnics in the park or playing games at each other's homes. The kids got along wonderfully, forming their own little group and often pushing for more get-togethers. It was heartwarming for Sophia to see her children so happy and well-adjusted, and she cherished these moments of normalcy and joy. Despite her growing feelings for Daniel, Sophia was cautious. Her past with Lucas had left scars, and she was afraid of getting hurt again. She didn't want to rush into anything, especially with her children's well-being to consider. Daniel, sensing her hesitance, was patient and understanding. He never pressured her, always respecting her pace and making sure she knew he was there for her, no matter what. One day, while walking in the park, Daniel turned to Sophia and said, "I know you've been through a lot, and I don't want to push you into anything you're not ready for. But I want you to know that I care about you deeply, and I'm willing to wait as long as it takes." Sophia smiled, feeling a warmth spread through her chest. "Thank you, Daniel. That means a lot to me. I care about you too, and I'm just trying to figure out what's best for me and the kids." They continued to walk in comfortable silence, each lost in their own thoughts. Sophia realized that for the first time in years, she was genuinely happy. She had built a new life for herself and her children, one filled with love, support, and hope for the future. As Sophia's relationship with Daniel deepened, she began to feel more secure in the idea of a future with him. They talked openly about their hopes and dreams, their fears and insecurities, and the ways in which their pasts had shaped them. Sophia felt a sense of peace whenever she was with Daniel, a calm assurance that everything was going to be okay. Meanwhile, Sophia's career was also taking off. Her dedication and hard work had not gone unnoticed, and she was offered a position as a team leader in her department. This promotion came with a significant raise, which would greatly benefit her family. Sophia was thrilled, not just for the financial stability it would bring, but also for the sense of accomplishment she felt. She had come so far from those dark days in the hospital, and this promotion was proof of her strength and resilience. One evening, after putting the children to bed, Sophia sat down with her mother, Elizabeth, to talk. Elizabeth had been her rock through everything, and Sophia wanted to share her thoughts about the future. "Mom," she began, "I think I'm ready to move forward with my life. I've been thinking a lot about Daniel, and I really believe he could be someone special for me and the kids." Elizabeth smiled warmly, taking Sophia's hand. "I'm so glad to hear that, honey. You deserve all the happiness in the world. Daniel seems like a good man, and I think he could be just what you need." Encouraged by her mother's support, Sophia decided it was time to have a serious conversation with Daniel about their future. The next weekend, while their children were playing in the backyard, Sophia and Daniel sat down on the porch to talk. "I've been doing a lot of thinking," Sophia began, looking into Daniel's eyes. "And I want you to know that I'm ready to take the next step with you. I'm ready to open my heart again, to trust, and to see where this goes." Daniel's face lit up with a smile, his eyes filled with emotion. "Sophia, you have no idea how happy that makes me. I've been waiting for this moment, and I promise you, I will do everything I can to make you and your children feel loved and secure." As they shared a heartfelt embrace, Sophia felt a wave of relief and joy wash over her. She knew there would still be challenges ahead, but with Daniel by her side and her children thriving, she was more than ready to face whatever came next. And so, Sophia continued to build her new life, one filled with love, hope, and endless possibilities. The future was bright, and she knew that no matter what happened, she and her family would always have each other. As time went on, Sophia and Daniel's relationship flourished. They spent countless evenings talking late into the night, sharing their dreams for the future and reflecting on the paths that had led them to each other. Their children had formed a close-knit group, often playing together in the backyard or working on school projects. Elizabeth, ever supportive, watched over them with a loving eye, grateful that her daughter had found happiness again. Sophia's career continued to advance. Her new role as team leader was challenging, but she thrived in the position. Her colleagues admired her dedication and the thoughtful way she managed her team, always ensuring that everyone felt valued and heard. She often stayed late at the office, not because she had to, but because she genuinely loved what she did. Her success was a testament to her resilience and determination to provide a better life for her children. One day, while Sophia was at work, she received an unexpected phone call from the police. They informed her that Lucas had escaped custody and was on the run. Sophia's heart sank. She had hoped that chapter of her life was closed for good, but now it seemed that Lucas might once again disrupt the peace she had worked so hard to build. The police assured her they were doing everything they could to track him down, but Sophia couldn't shake the feeling of unease that settled over her. Determined not to let fear control her life again, Sophia took precautions. She installed a new security system in her home and made sure all the doors and windows were secure. She also talked to her children about the importance of staying safe and being aware of their surroundings without frightening them too much. Daniel offered his support, spending more time at Sophia's house to ensure she and the children felt safe. Despite the added stress of Lucas being on the loose, Sophia did her best to focus on the positives in her life. She had a wonderful partner in Daniel, her children were thriving, and her career was going well. She tried to remain optimistic, believing that the police would catch Lucas soon and put an end to this ordeal once and for all. A few weeks later, on a sunny Saturday morning, Sophia decided to take the children to the park for a picnic. It was a beautiful day, and she wanted to enjoy it with her family and friends. Daniel joined them, bringing his children along, and Elizabeth came as well, eager to spend time with her grandchildren. The park was filled with laughter and joy as they played games, shared food, and basked in the warmth of the day. As the afternoon wore on, Sophia noticed a familiar figure lingering near the edge of the park. Her heart raced as she realized it was Lucas. He looked disheveled and worn, his eyes darting around nervously as if he were looking for something or someone. Sophia's first instinct was to gather her children and leave, but she quickly realized that running would only draw attention and potentially put them in more danger. Sophia discreetly signaled to Daniel, who immediately understood the situation. He quietly alerted Elizabeth and the children, asking them to move closer together and stay calm. Daniel then took out his phone and called the police, informing them of Lucas's location. Meanwhile, Lucas seemed to spot Sophia and began making his way toward them. Sophia's mind raced as she tried to think of what to do. She knew she couldn't let him get too close to her children. With a deep breath, she stepped forward, putting herself between Lucas and her family. "Lucas, stop right there," Sophia called out, trying to keep her voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her insides. "What do you want?" Lucas hesitated, his eyes meeting hers. There was a wild, desperate look in them, and for a moment, Sophia wondered if he was going to listen to her. But then, he broke into a run, heading straight for her. Daniel quickly stepped in front of Sophia, his stance protective. "Stay back, Lucas! Don't come any closer!" But Lucas didn't stop. As he got closer, Daniel braced himself, ready to protect Sophia and the children. Just as Lucas reached them, a police car screeched to a halt nearby, and officers jumped out, shouting for Lucas to get on the ground. Lucas froze, his eyes darting between Sophia, Daniel, and the police. With nowhere to go, he reluctantly raised his hands and got down on his knees. The officers quickly moved in, handcuffing him and leading him away. Sophia let out a breath she didn't realize she had been holding. Tears welled up in her eyes as the adrenaline of the moment began to fade. She turned to Daniel, who wrapped his arms around her in a comforting embrace. "It's okay, Sophia. He's not going to hurt you or the kids. It's over now." Sophia nodded, leaning into Daniel's embrace, feeling a mix of relief and exhaustion. She looked over at her children, who were huddled together with Elizabeth, their faces filled with worry. She quickly made her way over to them, kneeling down to reassure them that everything was okay. "It's all right, my loves," Sophia said softly, hugging each of them tightly. "The bad man is gone, and we're safe now." As the police drove Lucas away, Sophia knew she would need time to process everything that had happened. But she also knew that she was stronger than she had ever been, and with the support of her family, she could overcome anything. In the days that followed, Sophia focused on healing and moving forward. She continued to build her life with Daniel, and together, they created a loving and stable home for their blended family. They often talked about their future, dreaming of a life filled with love, happiness, and new adventures. Sophia's experience had taught her many valuable lessons about strength, resilience, and the importance of surrounding herself with people who truly cared about her. She knew she had come a long way from the scared, heartbroken woman she had been 10 years ago. Now, she was ready to embrace the future with open arms, confident that no matter what challenges came her way, she could face them with courage and grace. In the weeks following Lucas's arrest, Sophia found herself settling back into a routine. The initial shock of seeing him again had faded, replaced by a renewed sense of determination. She was more resolved than ever to provide a safe, happy life for her children and to continue building a future with Daniel. With Lucas out of the picture for good this time, Sophia allowed herself to fully embrace the possibilities of what lay ahead. She and Daniel started making plans to blend their families more formally. They talked about moving in together, finding a larger home that could comfortably accommodate all the children and provide them with the space they needed to grow and thrive. One evening, as they sat together on Sophia's porch, watching the children play in the yard, Daniel took her hand and looked into her eyes. "Sophia," he began softly, "I've been thinking a lot about our future, and I know I don't want to spend another day without you by my side. I love you, and I want to build a life with you and our kids. Will you marry me?" Sophia felt her heart swell with emotion. She had been through so much, and there were times when she thought she'd never find happiness again. But here was Daniel, offering her not just his love, but a promise of a beautiful future together. Tears of joy filled her eyes as she nodded. "Yes, Daniel, I will marry you," she replied, her voice filled with happiness. Their engagement was a joyous occasion, celebrated with close friends and family. Elizabeth, overjoyed at her daughter's happiness, helped plan a small celebration at their home. It was a warm, intimate gathering filled with laughter, love, and the promise of new beginnings. As they planned their future together, Sophia and Daniel decided to take things slowly, ensuring that their children were comfortable with every step they took. They spent more time together as a family, taking trips to the countryside, going on nature walks, and sharing meals. The children grew closer, forging bonds that were strengthened by the shared experiences of blending two families into one. Meanwhile, Sophia continued to excel in her career. The company she worked for had noticed her hard work and dedication, and she was soon promoted to a senior management position. This new role came with more responsibilities and challenges, but Sophia welcomed them. She was proud of how far she had come, and she knew that her success was a testament to her resilience and determination. With her new job and her upcoming marriage, Sophia decided it was time to buy a new home for their growing family. She and Daniel spent weekends house hunting, looking for the perfect place where they could create new memories. After a few months of searching, they found a beautiful house with a large garden, plenty of bedrooms for the children, and a cozy space for family gatherings. Moving into their new home was an exciting time for everyone. The children were thrilled with their new rooms, and Sophia and Daniel loved the idea of having a fresh start in a place that was truly theirs. They spent the first few weeks decorating, making the house feel warm and welcoming, and setting up a garden where they could grow flowers and vegetables. One evening, as they were unpacking boxes in the living room, Daniel found an old photo album of Sophia's. He sat down with her on the couch, and they began flipping through the pages together. The album was filled with memories from Sophia's past, her childhood, her early years with Lucas, and the difficult times she had faced. As they looked through the photos, Sophia realized how far she had come and how much she had grown. "This album tells a story," Daniel said thoughtfully, tracing a finger over a photo of Sophia holding the triplets as newborns. "It's a story of strength, perseverance, and love. You've been through so much, Sophia, but you've never given up. That's one of the things I love most about you." Sophia smiled, leaning her head on Daniel's shoulder. "Thank you, Daniel. I wouldn't have made it this far without you and Mom and the kids. You've all been my rock, and I'm so grateful for that." They continued flipping through the album, reminiscing about the past and talking about the future. Daniel suggested creating a new album together, one that would capture the moments they were building as a family. Sophia loved the idea, and they decided to start right away, taking photos of their new home, their children, and the little moments that made life so special. As the months went by, Sophia and Daniel's wedding day approached. They decided to have a small, intimate ceremony in their backyard, surrounded by their closest friends and family. Elizabeth was thrilled to help with the preparations, and the children were excited to be a part of the celebration. Sophia's heart was full as she looked forward to the day she would officially become Daniel's wife and start this new chapter in her life. On the morning of the wedding, the sun shone brightly in a clear blue sky. The backyard was beautifully decorated with flowers and fairy lights, creating a magical atmosphere. Sophia wore a simple, elegant dress, and as she looked at herself in the mirror, she felt a surge of happiness. She was ready to leave the past behind and embrace the future with open arms. As she walked down the aisle, Sophia's eyes met Daniel's, and she felt a deep sense of peace. This was where she was meant to be, surrounded by love, surrounded by family, surrounded by hope. They exchanged vows, promising to support each other, to love each other, and to build a life together filled with joy and laughter. After the ceremony, they celebrated with a small reception in the garden. There was dancing, delicious food, and heartfelt toasts from friends and family. The children ran around, playing games and laughing, while Sophia and Daniel danced under the stars. It was a perfect day, one that marked the beginning of a beautiful new journey. In the weeks following the wedding, Sophia and Daniel settled into their new life as a married couple. They continued to focus on their family, their careers, and their shared dreams for the future. They took each day as it came, grateful for the love and happiness they had found in each other. Sophia knew that life would always have its challenges, but she also knew that she was no longer alone. With Daniel by her side, she felt ready to face whatever came their way. She had learned that true strength came not just from enduring hardships, but from opening her heart to love and allowing herself to heal. As they sat together one evening, watching the sunset from their new garden, Sophia took Daniel's hand and smiled. "I'm so happy, Daniel," she said softly. "I never thought I could feel this way again, but here we are." Daniel squeezed her hand, his eyes shining with love. "I'm happy too, Sophia. I'm so glad we found each other. This is just the beginning of a beautiful life together." And so, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over their home, Sophia and Daniel looked forward to the future with hope and joy, knowing that they were stronger together and ready for all the adventures that lay ahead. As Sophia and Daniel continued to build their life together, their home became a sanctuary of love, laughter, and joy. The children, having adjusted well to their blended family, thrived in the nurturing environment that Sophia and Daniel had created. The once separate worlds of their pasts had seamlessly merged into a harmonious present. One day, as they sat around the dinner table enjoying a lively meal, Elizabeth made an announcement that caught everyone by surprise. "I've been thinking about taking a little adventure of my own," she said with a twinkle in her eye. "I've always wanted to travel and see more of the world. Now that you all are settled and happy, I think it's time I did something for myself." Sophia looked at her mother in surprise, but then smiled warmly. "Mom, that's wonderful. You've done so much for us. You deserve to go on an adventure and enjoy yourself. Where do you want to go?" Elizabeth pulled out a brochure from her bag. "I've been reading about this group that organizes trips for seniors. They go to all sorts of interesting places. Safari trips in Africa, tours of Europe's historic sites, even cruises around the Caribbean. I haven't decided where to go yet, but I thought it might be fun to explore some options." The children were thrilled at the idea of their grandmother going on an adventure. They peppered her with questions about where she wanted to go and what she hoped to see. Elizabeth laughed, enjoying the attention and the excitement of planning something just for herself. Over the next few weeks, Elizabeth finalized her travel plans. She decided to join a group trip to Italy, a country she had always dreamed of visiting. Sophia and Daniel helped her prepare, making sure she had everything she needed for her journey. The day she left, they all gathered at the airport to see her off, waving goodbye as she embarked on her adventure. With Elizabeth off exploring the world, Sophia and Daniel settled back into their routine. Their days were filled with work, school activities, and family outings. On weekends, they often went hiking in the nearby hills, enjoying the fresh air and the beauty of nature. The children loved these outings, and it became a cherished family tradition. One Saturday, as they were hiking along a particularly scenic trail, Daniel turned to Sophia with a thoughtful expression. "You know, I've been thinking," he said. "We've built such a wonderful life here, but there's one more thing I think we should do." Sophia looked at him curiously. "What's that?" Daniel smiled. "I think we should write a book." "A book?" Sophia asked, surprised. "About what?" "About our story," Daniel replied. "About everything you've been through, everything we've built together. I think it could be inspiring to others who are facing difficult times. It could be a way to share your strength and resilience with the world." Sophia thought about it for a moment, then nodded. "I like that idea, Daniel. It's been quite a journey, and if our story can help someone else, then it's worth sharing." Over the next few months, Sophia and Daniel began working on the book together. They spent evenings and weekends writing, revisiting memories, and capturing the highs and lows of their journey. It was a cathartic process for Sophia, who found herself reflecting on how far she had come and how much she had grown. Writing the book helped her appreciate the strength she had found within herself and the love that had helped her heal. As they neared completion, they decided to self-publish the book and donate a portion of the proceeds to organizations that supported single parents and families in crisis. When the book was finally released, they were overwhelmed by the positive response. Readers from all over sent messages of gratitude, sharing how the story had touched their hearts and given them hope. The success of the book brought new opportunities for Sophia and Daniel. They were invited to speak at events, share their story on podcasts, and even appeared on a few talk shows. The exposure helped them reach even more people, spreading their message of resilience, hope, and the power of love. Through it all, Sophia remained grounded, always putting her family first. She continued to work hard at her job, finding fulfillment in her career and pride in her accomplishments. She also made sure to spend quality time with the children, supporting them in their activities and nurturing their talents. One evening, after a particularly busy day, Sophia received a phone call from Elizabeth. She was calling from a small cafe in Rome, excitedly telling Sophia all about her adventures. "I've seen so many beautiful places, and I've met some wonderful people," Elizabeth said. "But I have to say, I miss all of you. I can't wait to come home and tell you all about it in person." "We miss you too, Mom," Sophia replied, smiling. "But I'm so glad you're having such a great time. You deserve it." As the weeks went by, life continued to unfold in beautiful, unexpected ways. The children were growing up fast, each developing their own unique interests and personalities. Sophia and Daniel supported them in every way, encouraging them to follow their passions and explore their dreams. One day, as Sophia was sitting in her office, she received an email that caught her eye. It was from a publishing house, expressing interest in turning her and Daniel's book into a documentary. They wanted to bring their story to a wider audience, capturing the resilience and love that had defined their journey. Excited by the opportunity, Sophia and Daniel agreed to meet with the producers. Over the next few months, they worked closely with a team of filmmakers, sharing their story and inviting them into their lives. The documentary captured not just their past struggles, but also the joy and fulfillment they had found in building a new life together. When the documentary was finally released, it was met with widespread acclaim. Viewers were moved by the authenticity and honesty of their story, and it quickly became a source of inspiration for many. Messages poured in from around the world, thanking Sophia and Daniel for sharing their journey and for giving hope to those facing their own challenges. As the documentary gained popularity, Sophia and Daniel found themselves in the spotlight once again. They were invited to speak at conferences and events, sharing their story with audiences who were eager to hear about their experiences. They used these opportunities to advocate for stronger support systems for single parents and families in need, hoping to make a positive impact on the world. Through it all, Sophia remained humble, always focusing on the love and support of her family. She knew that it was the strength of their bond that had carried them through the darkest times, and that it was the love they shared that made their journey so meaningful. As the years went by, Sophia and Daniel continued to build their life together, filled with love, laughter, and endless adventures. They knew that no matter what the future held, they would face it together, hand in hand, surrounded by the family they had created and the love that had brought them there. As the years continued to unfold, Sophia and Daniel's lives were filled with joy, challenges, and growth. The success of their book and documentary had opened doors they never expected, allowing them to connect with people from all walks of life who were inspired by their story. Despite the attention and acclaim, Sophia and Daniel remained focused on the values that had guided them from the beginning: love, resilience, and family. Their home became a place of learning and encouragement, not just for their children but for everyone who came through their doors. They hosted community gatherings, offering support and a listening ear to those in need. Sophia, drawing from her experiences, started a support group for single parents, providing them with a space to share their stories, seek advice, and build a network of support. Sophia and Daniel also began giving talks at schools and community centers, sharing their journey and the lessons they had learned. They spoke about the importance of perseverance, the power of love and kindness, and the value of facing challenges with courage and hope. Their words resonated with many, and they were often invited to speak at events and conferences across the country. One day, after giving a talk at a local high school, a young girl approached Sophia with tears in her eyes. "Thank you so much for sharing your story," she said. "I've been going through a really tough time at home, and I felt so alone. Hearing what you went through and how you never gave up, it gives me hope. It makes me believe that maybe things can get better for me too." Sophia hugged the girl, feeling a deep sense of purpose. "Things can get better," she said gently. "It may not always be easy, but if you keep believing in yourself and reach out for support when you need it, you can overcome anything. You are stronger than you know, and you are never alone." Sophia's words, and the way she lived her life, became a beacon of hope for many. She continued to lead by example, showing that no matter how difficult life could get, there was always a way to rise above it. She reminded people that it was okay to ask for help, that strength could be found in vulnerability, and that every challenge was an opportunity to grow and learn. Daniel, too, found his calling in inspiring others. He started a mentorship program for young fathers, helping them navigate the complexities of parenthood and encouraging them to be actively involved in their children's lives. He shared his own experiences, emphasizing the importance of being present, supportive, and loving, no matter what life threw their way. As their children grew older, Sophia and Daniel encouraged them to find their own paths and passions. They supported their dreams, whether it was pursuing sports, arts, academics, or any other interest. They taught them the importance of kindness, resilience, and empathy, instilling in them the values that had guided their family through so many challenges. One evening, as the family sat together around the dinner table, Sophia looked around at the smiling faces of her children and felt a deep sense of gratitude. She realized that everything they had been through had led them to this moment of peace and happiness. She was proud of the strong, compassionate individuals her children were becoming and grateful for the love and support they had all shared. Feeling inspired, Sophia decided to share a final message with her family and friends, one that she hoped would continue to inspire them even after her story had been told. She gathered everyone together in the living room, her voice filled with warmth and conviction. "Life is full of unexpected twists and turns," Sophia began. "There will be moments of joy and moments of pain. You will face challenges that seem insurmountable, and you may feel lost at times. But I want you all to remember this. You are stronger than you think. You have the power to overcome any obstacle, to rise above any hardship, and to create a life filled with love, joy, and purpose." She paused, looking at her children, her husband, and her mother. "Never be afraid to reach out for help when you need it. Lean on each other, support one another, and always choose love over fear. Remember that every challenge is an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to become a better version of yourself." Sophia continued, her voice steady and sure. "Your story is yours to write. You have the power to shape your future, to make choices that reflect your values and your dreams. And no matter what happens, know that you are never alone. There is always a way forward, always a way to find hope and light, even in the darkest of times." As Sophia finished speaking, the room was filled with a profound sense of peace and inspiration. Her words had touched the hearts of everyone present, reminding them of the incredible strength and resilience that lay within each of them. From that day forward, Sophia, Daniel, and their family continued to live their lives with purpose and passion, always striving to make a positive impact on the world around them. They knew that life would always bring its share of challenges, but they were ready to face them together, with love, courage, and an unwavering belief in the power of hope. And so, their story became not just a tale of hardship and triumph, but a timeless reminder that no matter what obstacles we face, We have the strength to overcome them, the capacity to love deeply, and the ability to create a life that is truly extraordinary. Sophia's journey is a testament to the power of resilience, the strength of the human spirit, and the importance of surrounding yourself with love and support. No matter how dark the path may seem, there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. Her story reminds us that we all have the power to overcome life's toughest challenges and to turn our greatest hardships into our greatest triumphs. So, remember, no matter what you're facing, don't give up. You are stronger than you think, and your story is yours to write. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey. If Sophia's story inspired you, please share it with someone who might need a little hope today. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories of resilience and triumph. Until next time, keep believing in the power of your own story.